Calling all nerds. This is More Than Dice, the podcast where we dive deep into the realms of everything nerdy. Whether you're a nerd culture connoisseur, a tabletop titan, a miniature gaming marveler, or just someone who proudly embraces their inner geek, this is the podcast for you. And now, let's get to the show.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm Captain Missy.
I'm Scott.
Scott's like, I'm Scott. Am I supposed to say something?
Scott.
Yes. Hi, Scott.
Hello, how are you guys?
Welcome to episode 336, our Warcrow special episode. We invited our good friend Scott Tipsword over. He knows every single thing there is to know about Warcrow. I mean, he has got so much knowledge on this that your brain is going to explode by the time you get done listening to this. Because if you have a question, you can ask in the chat, and he'll be able to bring it up like a human calculator.
It's called having a reference book.
Pay no attention to the book I pull up to.
But before we get to that, let's go and get to the business. We want to thank TurboDoric for being an awesome sponsor and bringing and having great metallic paint. If you have not checked out their metallic paints, make sure you go check it out. Not only do they do the color and the what they call turbo shifting paints, they have a great selection of just, your standard basic metallic colors that you should be able to see. And
let
also,
me preach the good word of these stir sticks.
Oh, yeah. They're little
Love them.
Stir sticks. We use them for putting on stuff for basing. We use it for everything. And also their dry palettes are really good because they also fit inside of the Game Envy palette top. So so you can take that with you. But I did want to say that they do have a great mixing medium. Their thinning medium is really, really good. One of my favorite ones. And then also they started doing small packets of their stuff where it's like just like 8 paints. So you get to buy the entire selection or the entire thing. You can buy 8 and they're broken down into little packets. So you get, all you need. So make sure you go check them out. They have a lot of cool stuff. They're a really cool company. They're really neat people. Also, we have to do some shout outs this week. There's always this one. We always try to give a shout out not to people that have passed away, but anything that's happened or anything that's been really cool. But this last week, the Pope did pass away. We know we have some people that are in that, and so on and so forth. Hey, Bree.
It's a Bree.
Which good old friend Bree will be on next week, so make sure you stay around for that. She's kind of cool, a little weird, but we love her. So don't tell her that.
She's our brand of weird. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Bree Zerker, thanks for saying hi. But she'll be on there. But you have to shout out to the Pope. That is someone that's very famous or very prevalent, someone that's done a lot of things in the world. So shout out to them. Scott, do you have anybody you want to shout out? Like, you can also shout out your own channel. You can shout out, your stuff, anything you want to shout out.
Then I will shout out Brohala Gaming,
Okay.
which is myself and a couple of friends. We do just talk about various different games that we play, and Warcrow's one of them. Bolt Action. We did What a Cowboy, BattleTech, different things like that. So I believe we are on mainly stuff on. We have
You cut out right
pulled
there.
out the audio. Oh, sorry. We do. We're on YouTube,
Okay.
and I believe we're also on some of the other podcast streamings as well. We've got the audio stripped out.
Just to confirm, it is BRO Hollow, correct?
Correct.
All right, I found it. Great, wonderful. I can post that.
Yes,
Get you a
Brohala
little-
Gaming.
Yeah. There's your YouTube. That way you can have it and get all that stuff in there. Guys, as always, even now more than ever, we always tell everybody, if you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. right in the middle of our speech, Bree, you want to make us drink? Can't you just wait until after the speech to get the drink?
No, must hydrate now.
Okay, so we have to. Bree's making us hell hydrate real quick. All right. Guys, we appreciate Bree. Thank you. That was a really good thing. Make sure that you check after each other. Make sure you love each other. Make sure you're kind to each other. Make sure that you're giving out what you can. And things aren't always the best. Things are never always going to work out the proper way. But it's how you react and how everything goes after the fact that is very important to everybody. So from all of us, cheers.
Cheers.
Wait a minute, that was really good.
Gonzo, you forgot a very important point in all of this.
What?
You did not ask any of us what we were drinking.
Oh, crap. I got tied up. I mean, Scott's just throwing me off. I mean, he's such a gorgeous man that it just threw me completely off of everything. Mizzy, what are you drinking tonight?
I have sparkling ice starburst because pink is the best.
I didn't know that existed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm going to the store tomorrow.
So I can find this at Dollar Tree, Aldi, and Walmart.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking some Canada Dry.
All right. Don't know
Nice.
how you can do it, but we won't yuck your yum.
Ginger ale is good. What are you talking about, Gonzo?
You're also fine. I'll bring Malort next time.
You're no. That's even worse.
That is one thing I will never put in my mouth.
I'm not going to take that bait right there. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the paint cam because I will be working on a Warcrow model. It was actually one of my favorite that I like out of the entire set. And it's Lioslaith, and it's one of the, commanders of the army and everything. And it's a great pose. We're going to do that. But while I'm doing this and setting this up, Scott, tell us who you are and why you're important to Warcrow.
Sure. My name's Scott Tipsword. I've been playing Corvus Belly games since 2015, 2016 when I found Infinity. And that was all through, like friends at Adepticon, because I came from a Warhammer Fantasy background at Adepticon.
Like we all do.
Yep. Quite a few of us. Started working as a Warcorps, which is the Corvus Belly community volunteer, doing organizational, organizing communities or events. I've been doing that for quite a few years while also, being one of the main organizers for Infinity at Adepticon. During that same time, I've also volunteered at Gen Con and, Infinity demos, Warcrow adventures, and 2023. Yeah. 2023, Hoopu from Corvus Belly was the representative to come, be the face of Corvus Belly at Gen Con. And I helped do a lot of the Warcrow and Warcrow demos. So getting in with Hoopu and being part of, that close family of Corvus Belly just as a volunteer and basically a friend really helped, because when they opened up the playtesting group, outside of, I think they had some of them locally in Spain, when they opened it up, Hoopu reached out and asked me to join. So I've been part of the playtesting group for the last, I'd say, year and a half or so.
Yes.
So that's why I am important to Warcrow.
That's awesome.
All right. Before we get started,
It's been a lot of fun.
I am going with a fall theme, which I guess is a very popular theme with this army right now. I just like it because I like to paint bright colors. And so this is the thing I'm going in. And of course, using all the paints will be the Army Painter War Paints, which I've already done a little bit to start off with. And just did some airbrushing and got, basic colors and such. And I'm going to start working on some coloring because I want to get some dried brown and moldy wine on here, because the tree branches are going to be the moldy wine and the base is going to be brown, because I'm going to paint it and do the base like I did my long wing, and do the fall theme on my wall like I did on my long wing, which was such a great name to say for a model. So,
Because we're not 12-year-old boys at all. No, never.
no, never. So okay, so we know that that Warcrow is made by Corvus Belli. What is the lore and like bit of history behind what is Warcrow? Because I mean, I've got the book, and like I would say 80% of the book is lore because
Yes.
of the world. It is huge.
It's a massive world.
What can you
Massive
tell us
world
about
named
that?
Lindworm. The one thing I do want to talk about real quick is the history. This is actually the second product that Corvus Belli has had named Warcrow. Early on in their careers, first couple of years before they even created Infinity, they started by sculpting, like fantasy miniatures, that were game agnostic and whatnot, and they called it Warcrow since Corvus Belli is almost a little translation of Warcrow. So that they launched those and had those out. Gosh, I'd say probably 15 years ago or so. But this one is, and they've always been wanting to launch a fantasy game. I've been able to talk to Fernando. He is the title of Lord Commander at Corvus Belli, so basically a head guy in charge. And he said they've always wanted to get into fantasy because all of the everybody who started the company, the founders were all big fantasy people, playing role-playing games and all that stuff. So they finally came back to it and wanted to launch it as Warcrow again. So no actual relation to the prior model range, in case anyone question there. So a little bit of history. The world, though, of the Warcrow universe is called Lindworm. The main focus of it is one main continent on this planet, with a bunch of different factions warring currently, within each other or against each other. Excuse me. The one thing I will specifically call out is there is a shard of a mineral that circles. I believe it's orichalcum that circles on a different orbit around Lindworm. And when the shard is further away, magic in the world decreases. When it gets closer to the world, magic usage comes back up. The shard is now approaching Lindworm again, so magic is coming back into the world. With that, though, there is also a lot of mysterious and weird things. There is a deep, dense fog that has been rolling in, coming down from the north, with weird and mysterious things contained within it. So one of the factions that that starts off with the main starter, Winds from the North, is the Northern Tribes. Northern Tribes is two factions kind of together, two races together. So think about your typical orcs from, say, like Craft or something like that. Very militaristic and warlike. They used to live on the main of Lindworm. However, many years ago, they left due to a great big war with the ancient Elven Society of, and unfortunately, I've never gotten a good answer on the pronunciation of Gae-Assail or Gae-Assail. Gae-Assail is Gae space Assail. That was the ancient Elven nation. There was a big civil war there because some of the elves wanted to tap into the magic and use it for the betterment of society. Unfortunately, the part of magic in this world is it also has the ability to corrupt you. So there was a huge civil war between the factions that wanted to use magic, we call them the dark-minded, because they got kind of corrupted by what's known as the tinge, versus the other elves. But as part of that civil war, part of the fallout is the northern tribes were also pushed out. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm missing one piece here. After I'll call it Gaia Sale. Gaia Sale kind of broke up from that civil war. The Dark-Minded disappeared for a while, and a new faction, new nation was born. That was the hegemony. It was several tribes kind of decided to merge together and create one great nation. It was the creation of that coming from basically the ashes of Gaia Sale, and it was Emberzig, the hegemony, that pushed the orcs north up to the next continent north of them. So again, that was centuries ago. Now we fast forward to this fog that's rolling in, coming down from the north, bringing all these mysterious creatures and other weird happening with it coming down from the north. The orc leader, Albork, kind of started talking to the Varank leader, blue-skinned, a bit more feral and ferocious type, similar to orcs, but they're blue-skinned, a lot more ferocious. Started talking to Alwart, also known as Ice Bear, and they came up with they joined together, and they've decided, you know what, we're going to go back and take one. We're going to get away from this fall. Two, we're going to go back and retake the home of our ancestors. So they have come down from the north and sailed down there, and they landed at an area called Grotyard. And Grotyard is the very northernmost tip of the hegemony of Emberzig. So that's why the starter box, Winds from the North, has northern tribes on one side, hegemony of Emberzig on the other. Now, there was a little extra piece in there that when the northern tribes landed, part of the dwarven settlement known as Mount Haven. And Mount Haven dwarves finally said, okay, you can keep that part. And they just stopped interfering, and I think they shut the doors to their mountain and kind of off doing their thing right now. So we're all waiting to see what Mount Haven is doing. Okay, so those are three that we've kind of real quickly talked about. The first two being released are Northern Tribes and Hegemony of Emberzig. Mount Haven will be out, as we learned at the Corvus Belli seminar at Adepticon, will be out at... No, I'm sorry, we don't even know that one. Apologies. That was the speculation from everybody, is that Mount Haven was coming out at Gen Con. But it is not. It is not. We did learn that is the next two factions that I'll bring up. So immediately to the east of the hegemony of Emberzig is Feudum. Feudum is a society that is it's like a highly religious knights and priests and priestesses, things like that. They worship mainly their main religion is they worship the two moon goddesses, because there are two moons around Lindworm. There has always been a border battle between them and the Hegemony, and the one section, province, if you will, that unfortunately I'm drawing a blank on the name of the actual region. It might even just be the two moon goddesses. One of their original saints, like their biggest saint out there, is buried in a city that is now under Hegemony of Ember control.
Interesting.
Because Hegemony came in and took over that province. So yeah, there's definitely lots of conflict there. The one piece I did forget to mention about Hegemony of Emberzig is it's very cosmopolitan. It's the newest faction as far as age, but it is highly advanced, very rich. You've got humans, elves, and dwarves all living together. And you can actually field any of those three races on the battlefield right now.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of like old school mercenaries, because you have everybody in it. It's not just here's the humans, here's the dwarves. It's like everybody, except for those pesky scions.
Yes, except for those.
Scions are a family, okay?
I think I heard that Yaldabaoth actually translates a family.
I would not be surprised, but I haven't
No,
looked at
I'm kidding. It's
it.
I know someone else mentioned that on I think it was either Facebook or somewhere. It's like that might have been a Discord I was in. It's like, but Yaldabaoth means family. Like, okay, yeah, probably. I think if you ask Hoopu, she'd say yes,
Yes.
it does, because she is a Scion through and through.
I love
Uh,
that.
Now that we've brought up Scions of Yaldabaoth, that is so the Gen Con release is another two faction box, which will be Feudum that I just mentioned a few minutes ago, and Scions of Yaldabaoth, and this is going to be more of a game release, because if anybody who's listening is Warcrow Adventures, which was the Kickstarter dungeon crawl that Corvus Belli did, and I believe it shipped much early this year, late last year. So anybody who backed it should have theirs now, hopefully. All of the enemies, and I'll use it in quotes, is the enemies in the dungeon crawler, Warcrow Adventures, are the Scions. So Corvus Belli has released some of the cards for those specific models. You just have to buy a separate card pack.
Have all of them in here.
Perfect. and they're a lot of fun. I've played them. I've played a whole bunch of them, but the release at Gen Con different. It's going to expand that range, which should be a lot of fun.
So I know what I'm spending my next bonus on, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yes.
So it will be new models, not any of the models that are already out.
As far as I understand, yes.
Well, I mean, because that
Nice.
range, if you buy the entire Warcrow like Mizzy did, the Warcrow Adventures, you get a shit ton of models. You have a fully functioning heavy hardcore army.
You do. You absolutely do. Because there's, I think, a couple units of husks, which are, the shambling skeletons.
This entire tray full is almost all demons,
Nice.
with the exception of a little bit of a section over here. But yeah.
The since you brought that up, the aforementioned dark-minded elves, from Gaia Sail that had kind of gotten corrupted by the tinge, they are part of Scions of Yaldabaoth.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's
So
exciting.
You've got the progenitor sculptors. So essentially, if you think about body modification horror, that's this faction.
I'm here for this.
You've got different creatures that have been created from other bodies, known as the Mornmab, aka Cuddles, because he's misunderstood. Just wants some cuddles. I believe Mizzy has cuddles handy.
He just
There you
wants
go.
some cuddles.
He does.
That's why.
There's definitely some. I think it's called Oataru, which is very creepy. There's multiple sets of arms sticking out near the top, multiple sets of legs. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get on the paint table myself. So that's there's dead flesh, there's living flesh, there's a nice mix of some of those cursed elves, some humans that have joined in with. So it's a little mixture of all of those different things kind of meshed together. The one extra piece to mention, though, is there are known as red caps.
You're breaking up a little bit, Scott.
Oh. How about now?
Let's try that out.
How about now?
Sounds
Keep
good.
going. Let's try
Okay.
it.
Sorry about that. So I was talking about the red caps, which are little goblins that are so much fun to play. That's probably been one of my favorite to play so far out of the different games I've played, because I've played with all four, and we'll get to the last one here in a second that was released at Adepticon. So red caps right now are kind of lumped in with Scions, but it feels like basically they're lumped in, but not really on the same page, working together with each other and like that. So who knows what the future will bring, because any indication, the history of Infinity, Corvus Belli is not afraid to advance the storyline, make big changes. So who knows what'll happen.
As long as I get to keep eating goblins, that's fine.
That is a very, very fun mechanic.
What's funny is when we were talking about, because I've been waiting for the elves since, they said they were going to make it, because I've been an elf player all my life. And I told her about the demons. She was like, and I go, the yeet goblin. She goes, I'm in. I'm buying it all. I'm like, I don't care what it is. I don't care how good it is. Or what.
Yeet, Bree. Y-E-E-T. Yeet.
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 She was like, I want that more
shenanigans.
anything, because it's a movement shenanigan bullshit. And I'm like, yep.
Mhm.
And it is a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. Now, to bring up the final faction that we know is on the release schedule, actually, because it's out, is CNN. Those are the elves that Gonzo mentioned.
Yes.
They are basically what's left over of the Gaia Sail elves. They went into the forests. They are one. Each CNN elf. Unfortunately, I don't remember if it's when they're born or when they come of age. They are specifically bonded with a sienna tree, and they are the protector of that tree.
Okay, that's cool.
And their life force is tied together. So if you haven't, one of the elves will leave the forest or go to a different forest. They can't do it for a certain, a really long time, because they have to return back to their tree because they are one with the tree. So Darach Wildling, which is one of the playable heroes in Warcrow Adventures, and it's so far my favorite that I've played. He is in, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the town that Warcrow Adventures takes place in, but he's there specifically. He's got to return back to his tree, some point in the future before he can continue the adventures.
Yeah, it just showed him up on screen on Twitch.
Awesome, thank you. And Hawthorne Point. Hawthorne Point is the name of the town, which is actually off into, so from the main continent of Lindworm, it's actually off on a smaller continent. Think a really big island, kind of like Green, known as, I believe that is a sail, and it's in the southern end of it is where Hawthorne Point is.
Okay, so
there is one last faction named in the rulebook, and that is the Merchants Alliance. However, it's almost like a coming soon. Like, there's not much to that compared to the other factions, which has probably 30 plus pages, if not more, each of lore and fluff and background, lots of fun stuff.
So we've got the factions, we've got all the things. Mountain Home's not out yet. Scions are out, but you have to get the Warcrow Adventures, and Feudum is not out yet, which they're going to be the next one. And we still have models coming out, because at Adepticon they showed off Cavalry, and holy motherfucking, them things are huge.
Yes,
those models were huge.
Yeah, they did announce and show cavalry models, so the Black Angels for Hegemony of Ember and the Ward Riders for Northern Tribe.
Yeah.
And to scale, they are to scale compared to all the other models in the range. So the beasts that they're riding on are huge.
I'm super excited for those wargs.
Yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on them, and I believe Bostria did say that those cavalry models will be in more of the plastic that they've been doing for tags.
Yes.
And remotes. So it should be, to put some more heft to it, a little bit more sturdy in certain places. So it should be a little bit, it'll be a different quality than the injected thermoplastics that they've been using with Siocast machines.
Yeah.
So, talking about that, we know the lore. We're all just trying to survive. The orcs coming trying to take the land back. Fog's coming in and killing everybody. Creepy thing coming out of it. These rules are just the same as Infinity, right?
Not even close. This is, and that was actually one of the most asked questions.
Yeah.
At Gen Con in 2023, and all the different places where folks were asking Hupu and Bostria and Fernando, everybody was is this just going to be Infinity with a fantasy skin? And the answer is absolutely not. It is a completely different game.
Yeah, because this game
Completely
uses special dice.
It does. It's got they do have special dice, proprietary dice with 3 different types of symbols on them. You've got a success, which kind of looks like a little hit blast, a block, which is a shield, and then you've got special. But to make it even more complex, each one of those has a filled-in version and a hollow version, and each one of them has a different type of role in the game. So if you're just doing a standard attack, only filled in successes will count, as you're the attacking unit, and then the defending unit, only filled in blocks will count to counteract the successes. However, there are other rules that can modify. If someone has elite, they can choose to count hollows as filled in.
Yeah.
Or you could do part of what is one of my favorite rules or mechanics in the game is switches. And that is each card, I think some units don't have switches, but most of them do. What that is, special little flavor that unit can do, whether it's on the attack or defense. Each one will specifically say, this is a defensive switch, this is an offensive switch. And in order to do that, you have to spend, so you'll gather your dice, you'll make your roll. You will start using and exhausting some of those symbols to trigger a switch. Once you've used that and you've applied the effects, whatever symbols you spent on those switches are not available in. So to me, it really gives, it's not just chuck dice, here's how much damage, here's how much I blocked, start, taking wounds. There's all these extra different flavors to it.
Which I think is one of the good things about the game is I'm just not walking up, I hit, I wound, you save, we're done. It's I hit, these are the wounds, you block, you now parry, send some of those back at me, because you could technically, one of the unique systems of the rules is I could attack you, do no wounds to you, you could do some wounds to me, and I lose the combat even though I was the aggressor.
Yep, absolutely, because some of those switches can do damage when you're on defense.
Yeah, Gonzo, go after Alborg. Get your face smashed in.
The surprising one to a lot of folks, I think, is I'm trying to blank on the caster for Northern Tribes right now.
Evoker?
The Evoker. I believe the Evoker's defense contains an offensive die, a red.
Hold on. Yes, it does. I have the card right here.
Yes, a lot of people are very shocked to learn that a caster has an offensive die on the defense. So go ahead, please charge it. Good luck.
Be my guest.
Yes. And that's one of the things I'll also mention, because we talked about the red die. As part of those proprietary special dice that they use for the game, there's 3 different colored offensive dice, 3 different colored defensive dice. Yeah. Offensive in order from like least successes to most successes, yellow, orange, then red. And then defense, again, from least number of blocks to most is black, blue, and then. And there are some switches and some other abilities that to modify the dice. So change it up 1 or down 1 at that point. So if you're rolling, let's say 2 red dice as part of your attack, you might have a skill that says, no, this turn you can upgrade or downgrade that die. Now, if you want more successes, you're going to go to the red. However, if let's say you happen to have a lot of switches that get triggered by spending specials, the yellow die has more specials facing. So you have to make those kind of decisions based on what you're trying to do. Just some quick examples of some of the switches. You can displace the enemy unit. You can push them back. You can displace yourself and move somewhere else. You can cancel blocks from your opponent. And that's all on like the offensive. On defensive, again, you can displace yourself and get out of the way. You can cancel and offset successes from your attacker. Lots of different things just to give you a little bit.
Yeah, because one of the things that I like, and it's because of the elves, because when they were describing all the things and they were like the elves, they're highly mobile shenanigan type stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's my type of faction, is doing that. And so, I'm looking at all the rules when we started seeing all the rules. It was like, yeah, these guys get to shoot and they get to displace themselves, 5 strides, or, if they're next to a forest, they get to do this and they get to do that. And so on and so forth. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of ambush. Yeah, I like this faction because this is a damn it Gonzo faction, because you hit.
I've already started cussing you, and we haven't even played a game with the elves yet.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite rules in the game right now, is the one you mentioned, Gonzo, about the ranged attack. And this is the protectors of the forest. They can do a ranged attack, and at the resolution of that, they can if they're within 5 strides of a forest or a numerous unit, so that's another unit that has forest-like qualities, they can place themselves 4 strides. Oh, that's something we haven't talked about yet. Warcrow does not use a typical inch or centimeter measurement.
Nope.
They
That's
use
right.
what's called strides. Or, as we also kind of like to have a little fun with it, span yards.
Yeah, because it is actually a measuring widget that you have to use.
It is. So the game comes with 2 different tools. One is a 20 stride, like a long ruler.
Stick.
And then the other one is a
yeah,
movement
no
tool that shows you each one of the sides. You've got a 2 stride, 3 stride, 4 stride, 5 stride movement tool. So
I got one of the cool ones. Because you get your basic one. I just, of course, bought the acrylic one when it came out, the acrylic set.
But of course.
Then I bought, the Elven one at Adepticon.
Because of course you did.
And then, of course, they were late on shipping a lot of stuff, so I got a free one of the Embersig ones. And then I got 2 more of those, and then I got 1 more of those, and I gave 1 to Mizzy, and I gave the other 2 away at Adepticon who I was playing against. I was like, here, you can have these. I got 3 more back at the house.
Nice. Embersig is one of the ones I did not get.
I've got Dark Master and Ice Bear.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. For those at home, though, a stride is 15 millimeters.
And that was funny. Whenever we got the rules, and I found out how much the strides were, I 3D printed one of the measuring sticks and measuring
Nice.
stuff so we could play the game, because we played it with our own
Albert.
models.
Or,
Ice Bear.
excuse me, Allwart, Ice Bear.
Yeah.
And,
Focus.
and so I
Focus.
3D printed it so we could play the game and test out the rules before the rules, physically came out.
Also,
Yes, and that's
up
what we had to
there
do
in that
playtesting.
corner, right there is Ice Bear painted as a panda bear from War Budgies.
Yeah, we did a mini exchange, and he painted an Ice Bear for Mizzy and painted it as a freaking panda.
Which there is
awesome.
a picture in our Discord of that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
Gonzo, you mentioned 3D printing the widgets. That's what we had to do at the very early days of the testing, because none of the products were out yet. So my testing partner, JP, he whipped some up real quick and put the file in testing group, and everybody was like, cool, awesome. Starts printing it up and start printing out a whole bunch of 30 millimeter. Every standard infantry model is on a 2 stride, so 30 millimeters.
Yeah, because that was the one thing that most all models are on a 30 millimeter base. There are some bigger ones, but most of them are on 30 mils.
Yeah, like cavalry will be 60 mil, so 4 strides.
Yeah, one thing about the game that I've noticed is the stride movement. Because this game moves in a little bit different than anything else. If you've played like MCP, it'll be familiar, but won't be. It's not the same.
It's not the exact same, but
it is familiar.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about the movement stuff? Because I know that the movement's done different.
It is. It is. The one thing I'll mention before we talk about movement real quick is units. When you've got a multi, most of them or base infantry.
You broke up
4
a
models
bit.
in the unit. Oh, how about now?
Yep. Try it again.
Okay. So your basic infantry, most of the units. The only one that really matters, measuring and everything like that, is the unit leader, which is specifically denoted in the sculpts as, hey, this, like the orc hunters, he's got big tusks coming off of his back. Bucklerman, hegemony of Emberzig, got a big like a wing on a banner. Excuse me, behind him. So all the measurement for movement will be based off the leader.
Yeah, and then you push everybody within 2 strides, correct?
Everybody just stays within stays within 2 strides. So you'll move the leader and then move everybody else after the fact. Now when you're trying to charge or attack, as long as your leader connects with any model in the other unit, then you can make it. But it's when you're measuring and doing actions, it's got to be your that you're measuring from and trying to capture an objective, trying to. So movement values in, especially for anybody who's familiar with Affinity, comes in 2 numbers separated by a dash. So you can have a 3-2, a 3-3, 2-3, different combinations. Now, however, when you declare move, single action move, you're actually going to move. And this movement is from front to back. So you'd place, let's say you have a 3-3 movement.
You cut it out a little bit again.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
I think
apologies.
You're probably using up too much memory in your machine's like, you're killing me.
I'm glitching.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit glitching
in here.
So pretty much what Scott was saying is when you move, you have 2 values, and we'll say it's 3-2. You would measure from the front of the base and place to the back of the base on the 3 stride widget. And then you would do it again, and you would do it the 2 and do the same thing front to back. But, and I've seen this because you and I talked about this before we started, that you can actually take 2 actions with a unit or a model. And the only action you can do twice is a move.
Yes.
And when you move, because when I first read the rules, I was thinking, okay, two actions. That means I move 3. That's my first action. And then my second action would be move 2. And then got back into it and looked at it. It says, no, my first action is to move 3 and then 2. And my second action is to move 3 and 2 again.
3 and then 2. Yep. And then each one of those movements has to be in a straight line. And that's why they've broken it up. So if you're trying to turn a corner, you can move the 3 all in a straight line. Once that model's placed at the end again, put the 2 stride marker going that way. Boom. Now you can turn that corner. Kind of why they broke it up. But it does take one single one action.
We have a raid from Painty Paints. So welcome in, friends.
We're going to get some follows. We appreciate everybody. If you're just coming in, we're talking about Warcrow. I am painting one of the models from Warcrow. And our specialty guest, Scott Tipsword, is talking to us all about how the game is played.
Yes. How is that Lioslaith coming along?
This Lioslaith is coming along really good, but there is so many fine small details on this model.
Well, that's what you get for playing elves. Elves are ornate and detailed. You got to give them justice.
Really fun.
Oh yeah.
I am also a CNN player. When Corvus Belli launched the website initially, they have the take the quiz.
Yeah.
Which nation are you? Every time I took it, elf. Yep. CNN elf.
I'm gonna let these dry for a little bit because I got some wet paint on them. I'm gonna show the other models while we're talking about it that came with the box. And this was the commander that you were talking about. That was the special edition one. And
the Great Captain.
Yeah, the Great Captain. I mean, the way that they made him attach, because he attaches by the cloak, not by like his foot or a tip of it. was really, really cool.
That's really nice. Because it's more stable and not as fiddly and
Correct. Yeah.
for players like me who are accident prone.
And then I'm going to
We need all the support we can get.
We're not going to get a lot of detail because this guy is primed. But this is the winged elf. Which
the named one is Ynir.
Yeah.
And there's also another card in the box, the unnamed, that is Alula.
Yeah, and then this guy I really like because he is definitely shenanigan bullshit.
Yes. So Ynir can scout in, and that's one of the skills in the game where basically you can deploy outside your standard deployment zone. You can either do it at the end of the main deployment zone, or you can do it while the game has started, and you can come in from the board edge and that with certain restrictions, can't be too close, things like that. But yeah, Ynir can do that, and then once he's engaged in combat, at the end of the combat, he can say, "Forget this, I'm out of here," and he'll fly up to the sky, pushing back whoever he was engaged with, and come back in on a different board edge.
Yeah,
wherever you want to put him.
Yeah, he's a dickhead. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Took the words right out of my mouth. Thanks, Gonzo.
Yeah, we just show off some of the
I thought the words were "damn it, Gonzo."
Yes. It's all of the words. Let's be real.
Yes, it is. So for me, we'll talk a little bit more about Warcrow here with the mechanics. Specifically, my favorite mechanic in the game is the stress and mechanic.
Stress and what?
Morale.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So every single one of the units has a morale value. Basically, how much stress can you take from being in a battle before you have to possibly see if you're going to break and start running? So morale ranges from 1 to 3 on a card, and if you attach a character, some of the characters will actually add morale to the unit that they've joined. So the higher the better. Stress is gained if you want to activate a second time in the same round. Your unit's going to gain a stress. So basically, the commander is asking to do more and more and more. Of course, you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You lose a combat.
You take a stress
because again, no one's going to like that. There are some switches that will give stress, some other actions and abilities that'll say, okay, you get stress over there. But to me, it's one of my favorite mechanics in the game because it truly shows. Like other games, you can Rambo. I'll talk about Infinity for a second. You can spend, if you have 10 orders in that order pool, you can spend all 10 orders on one model with 0 ill effects. Not technically realistic. Warcrow to me adds that realism, or at least a semblance of it, using the stress and morale functions. Because the more and more and more a unit to do, higher the chances of them not being able to mentally keep it all together and keep functioning and fighting while out in the middle of the battlefield.
For sure. And then another element that I really like is the tinge and how you can add the our first game, I made my evoker's head explode, but with the tinge.
Yeah, because
that's beautiful.
The magic system in this is not just I cast a spell, it happens. There's also rolls that have to go along with the spells in this, and you can increase the effectiveness of the spell either by damage or abilities or range. Yeah, by adding the tinge die to it, to the roll. Can you go ahead and describe what the tinge does and how we can explode the heads of our spellcasters?
Absolutely. So, kind of, I think I mentioned earlier about the lore of the world that, magic is powerful in this world, especially as that shard gets closer to Lindworm and is in close proximity. Magic is powerful, but it's also comes at a very dangerous cost. So, reaching deeper down into that magic to boost the spell, it's called altering a spell, to alter, add an alter. to, like you said, increase the range, do more damage. You could, add another effect of, hey, if the enemy takes a wound from, that's an alteration. As part of that alteration, you'll add 1 black die, which is the lowest defensive die, to the roll. Your casting roll. So you'll take your caster and roll your willpower. We'll just use an example of 3. I think that's the frost is 3 orange. You roll the 3 orange and 1 black die. If you roll a filled in block on that black die, it can cancel out one of your successes. While you're trying to boost your spell and make it, more powerful, there's still a higher chance of failure.
Oh yeah.
But
No reward.
Exactly. And some of the alterations are a single black die, some are 2. If you've got 2 alterations, you can do 1, the other, or both. But again, there's that risk and reward.
Yeah, because you can do some pretty devastating stuff on it. I've noticed that you can. I mean, especially in range, because the ranges in this game are not like, because it's only played on a 3x3, and it's not you don't have ranges that go the entire length. 20 strides is the farthest I've seen, and I don't even think there's really anything that gets to 20 strides that I can think of.
I haven't seen that for range.
Yeah, for ranged. And usually it's like the spell will only go, 7 strides. Then you can boost it, put tinge in it to go up to like 12.
Right. Yep. The downside, other than the blocking, is if you roll a hollow block on that die, the caster gains a tinge token. And that tinge token can have bad effects. If your caster or your unit has tinge on them, I believe it's the beginning of the round, you make another roll. You roll, if you've got 2 tinge on you, you roll 2 black dice. If you get a hollow special on that, you trigger the tinge. And it's all based on how many levels. 6 is the one where you blow and take out everybody around you. That's if you have 6 tinge and you activate it with that hollow special. At the lowest level, I believe it's gain a stress.
Yeah.
Caster gains a stress.
And it's not always, it doesn't always happen though.
No, it's only if you specifically roll the hollow special as part of either the tinge roll at the beginning of the round, or when you're casting a spell and you've altered. Or here's the other side. If you have tinge on you, any future casting will automatically add that many dice based on your tinge of black dice. So we'll mention the caster here again that I said had 2 tinge on. Frostfire Herald has got 3 orange dice for the willpower, 2 tinge on him. 2 black dice are already in the pool with the risk of gaining more, triggering, things like that. If I alter that spell again, for this specific casting, that adds another black die. Or if I do the 2 dice modification or alteration, the most you can ever have of any one color is 3 dice. After that, it goes to the next level up. So if I have 2 tinge on me already, and I choose to do the 2 pip alteration, I add 1 black die and 1 blue die.
Okay.
So now I'm rolling 3 black dice and 1 blue. So there's a good chance I'm not going to be casting. And I might be gaining more tinge and triggering. And they specifically have in the order of op. If you have a hollow block in that blocking tinge roll, you gain the tinge, then trigger is the next step. So if you roll the trigger, it's going to include what you just added.
I think this mechanic is really good because there's actually some good tinge in there, like you cause fear.
Yes.
You're a scary monstrosity walking across the battlefield.
Yep. I believe, I think that level is like all units within 5 have to take a fear check. Something like that. Right. I think that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that not all of it's bad, but it's not necessarily good because the more you rack up, the harder it'll be to cast in the future, and the higher the chances of exploding head, like Mizzy head.
Which during the Adepticon event, I can't remember the character's name that does the sword for Embersig. That uses casting to attack with his sword.
Give me a second. Oh, he came with the Marhail, the Refused.
Yeah, and his magical sword, he can he just takes tinge. It's not like roll to get tinge. He's like, just take a tinge and you can do this and do that. And so, and I was walking across the battlefield. I was like, teleport, slash, give him tinge so I can do more damage. He's like, I'd be okay on the roll. And I was like, teleport, slash, put more tinge on him. They're like, are you going to put as much tinge? I'm like, yes, because this guy's badass. I don't care if he dies because he's going to kill quite a few things along the way.
If it triggers, make sure he's near somebody.
Yep.
To do damage when he explodes.
Yep. So I was like,
yep.
I'm going to keep on fighting and exploding when I have to.
I like it. I have not put Marhail out on the board yet myself, so I will have to try that tactic.
Oh yeah.
Now you have. Now you know.
Be like Gonzo. Go balls to the wall every single time.
Yes. That sounds like a bad idea. Let's do it.
Yes.
Damn it, Gonzo.
That's how I played Adepticon. I just went, I'm just going to go crazy like I can. I don't care. Don't care. Just going to go crazy.
I mean, have fun. That's the name of the game, especially in a narrative.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially in a narrative, which we had, both of you played in it. I know when I read through the rule set that Mike Say had written up, I loved what he did, put together some real fun fluff, a little bit of, little extra twists to each one of the scenarios. But that's what a narrative should be.
Yeah.
Fun.
It should be just fun. Who cares about winning? Although I was playing and I went to go play my third game and I was trying to find someone to play because it wasn't like a bracket system. It was just choose someone to play. We don't care. Choose someone to play. And I was like looking for someone to play, and everybody around me was like, "No, you've kicked the shit out of the last two people you played against." And I'm like, "Guys, I was just playing." They're like, "No, your Embersig list is like really hardcore." And I was like, all I did was use what I had because that's all we had because we're still getting models out and stuff. And they were like, because I was playing, of course, the aggressors, which are the two-handed wielding badasses, and they were like. They hit hard. I'm like, yeah.
They said, fuck you and your aggressors, Gonzo.
Pretty much, because those things hit hard.
And I love those aggressor models.
Yes.
The sculptor, I think, did their research.
Yes.
And I say that because several years ago, oh God, I don't even want to calculate how long ago it was. There is something here in Chicago called the Chicago Swordplay Guild. It teaches longsword. It's a longsword class based off of the Renaissance manuscript by Fiore Daily Berry. And there's a lot of specific guards in that. Every single one of those models is using one of the guards that Fiore described.
That's cool.
Yes. So whoever the sculptor was, and unfortunately I don't remember, did their homework. So they've got a lot of historical significance. And I love that part.
Yeah. We got over most of the rules and everything, which is great. I mean, this game it's not complicated, but what's the community like right now? I mean, this is a starting out new game. So, I mean, it's a growing community, but the Discord has a crap ton of people and people talking constantly. The thing is constantly being in. I can't pay attention to it. There's just too much. But...
I had to mute the channel. That's how often people are talking about it. But yeah, the game officially launched at Gen Con of last. The two player box. As far as I know, the first like true events.
Yeah,
for Warcrow.
Yeah.
So there's Hell Hydrate.
Bree's like, you need to take a break, Scott.
Thank you, Bree.
Lubricate your box.
So the community is definitely building. Everybody, I know, quite a few individuals that I've talked to or heard from through, third party. Is that some folks are waiting for their army that they chose to be released.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people were very excited, and when they showed up, and I think we're just going to pull in even more
Yeah,
with
I think.
Feudum and Scions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're gonna get. I know a lot of people are really waiting for the Feudum because it's their style, and I don't know the name of the character, but the one that's a bard that has the falcon that's in the. I think it's. He was one of the special models in like the Kickstarter, but
Yeah, there's Jacques, I believe.
yeah, everybody was like, "That's my faction," and of course when they showed the Griffin rider, people are
In the book,
like, yeah, in the book, and then they showed they teased the model on the page. We were like, oh. People were like, yep, that's mine. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yes, Bree, War Falcon. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So I believe the picture in the lore book has the Griffin standing next to the Morn Mab, and it's almost twice as tall.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's a big boy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, okay, shut up and take my money when they have that released. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous looking model.
I'm some people.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm going to buy all the things. So
yeah. I mean, like I said, the game is just starting out, really, honestly, because we've got 4 factions now. The elves are still kind of releasing. We still got more things coming out. Can't wait to see what they've got coming out because there'll be some type of cavalry. I'm sure there'll be some big because even the orcs got a cavalry and then a big monstrous beast. The hegemony's got cavalry coming out, and then the guy that's standing on a telescope or whatever type thing.
oh, darn it, it'll come to me. But yes, strategist, I believe.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of stuff coming out, and and while we're talking about it, the Scions, if you want the entire faction, almost the entire faction right now, you can by buying the Warcrow Adventures, which actually wasn't a bad deal. I think all of it was a little over 300.
It was $302 and some odd cents.
Yeah, and not only are you getting every little Scion model that is out right now to play Warcrow, the miniature game, you also get the Warcrow Adventures game too. So it's like a 2-in-1. So I was like, Mizzy, go and buy that now because even when it comes out as a Warcrow thing, it's going to be new models and stuff like that, and you're just going to get more, and you get double.
And I said, Gonzo, get out of my way. I'm buying this.
That was the first store we hit when we got there.
One of the extra fun things to mention is the heroes in Warcrow Adventures, not just the Scion enemies, but the heroes are also all playable in the war game.
Yes.
So when their faction releases, Corvus Belli has put up the card for that specific hero or heroes on the website.
Yeah.
So you can use all of the Warcrow Adventure models. Like when it's all said and done, every single one of those.
Every single one will be used. You broke out at the very end, but yeah, every single one will be used in the Warcrow tabletop miniature, which is going to be good. Like I said, it's just starting out. We got 2 more known factions to come out, which is Mount Haven, which is the dwarves, and there's some models in there, and the Feudum. Right now, they're really kind of concentrating a lot, which I think is great, on narrative events and narrative play. They did say they were going to work on and I put quotes around it, tournament packet, which is fine. We don't know what it's going to be or how it's going to be, but they said that was about a year away when people started asking about it before Adepticon. So it could, maybe by Adepticon next year we have something. But as long as they're having events there and you get to play, that's all I care about right now.
Yep. It'll be real interesting because there is a work at Interplanetario in July, which is held in Vigo, Spain, and it's the one. I don't know if Corvus Belli officially does it or if it's a joint operation with one of the local gaming clubs. But if they, so they've done Infinity there, I think 7 years.
Yeah,
they've run it, and it's all things Corvus Belli.
Yeah.
So there is a Warcrow tournament for that, and I will be playing it. It'll be very interesting to see how they put that together.
Yeah, because there's no official yet. I put quotes around that official. There's nothing that is, like Steamforge Games has, the Steamroller packet. So there's nothing that's automatically. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm Mizzy and I last year when we did our discussion of game of the years and such and our top games for 2024, Warcrow hit our top game of the year because we
Awesome.
like the way it's played. We like the models. We like the gameplay. It's played on a smaller table size. It's not super expensive. You're not spending a few $1,000s for an army. You've got now if you're going to buy everything, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
But if you're only going to play one faction, yeah, Scott's pointing at himself. You're pretty much your army when you put it on the table. You've got what, 15 to 20 models, give or take, depending on how you filled
Yep.
it. That's about
Mhm.
about
All right.
average. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we were figuring out. And such. And so you're not taking a huge army bag with you. Yes, you do have a couple of widgets and you do have, certain, the proprietary dice, but once you get used to it, you're like boom, 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 and it goes
Yep.
really quickly.
Yep.
Type thing. But we thoroughly love it. We think it's a blast.
I don't have time for overcomplicated rules.
No.
I don't.
None of us do anymore. But we really enjoyed it. We're looking forward to what they're going to be doing next, which is of course more factions and more models. And I can't wait for more narrative events because we played the Winds of the North narrative and we had good fun with that, which was good. And we want to see what the next one's going to come out and we're going to play that. But our next thing that we are more than Dice is going to do is we're going to do. We don't do battle reports. We do battle events. And what we do is we play the game, but take pictures as we're playing it. And then we'll get on stream and we'll slideshow the pictures so we can show certain events and talk about how things going. Because one, it's really fucking hard to film a battle report as you're playing. And two,
Yes.
we can just talk about it as we're doing it.
We may be a team, but we are not a large team.
Yeah. And so we plan on doing that because I need to get my elves on the table and kick the crap out of some demons. Yeah, middle finger from Mizzy.
Fuck you, Gonzo.
So, Pat, parting words on Warcrow. Scott, what do you got for us before we head to the media section?
Just parting words is it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite game right now. I'm completely all in. The mechanics are great. There's lots of good like tutorial first look walkthrough videos out there available. If anyone's interested, I would highly recommend checking those out because you can actually see walking through the rules, talking through how the mechanics work, step by step. I think it's definitely worth it. And check out the warcrow.com. There's a lot of good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good content. Also, the Discord is if you're into Discords and so on and so forth, there is a ton of Discord stuff.
And we do have some chatter as well on Facebook. We've got Warcrow. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Gaming community, Warcrow gaming community, I believe.
Yeah.
Or
That
global.
sounds right.
Warcrow global.
Oh,
community.
global. Yeah, global.
Yeah,
Speaking words.
Yeah. And that one you have to be
Yes,
kind of careful on because it is they don't allow certain things to be cross-posted to them. They're very, very, very close with their community to make sure that it is done with, not a lot of spamming on the community page. They look after everybody
Correct.
a lot.
Yep, we make sure that there's no and unfortunately for a lot of folks, there's no sales posts on this one, so you're not going to get inundated with mix
Correct.
of talking about what you've been playing and asking questions.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot.
Nope.
It's very much a community page, not a sell page.
Yes, exactly. If somebody wants to start a page, cool, do it. Sell stuff over there. Just not in this room, please.
Yeah. For the people that's their first time here, we do have a media section at the very end of our page, end of our thing. And what we do is we rate movies, TV shows, books, music, whatever we've had. We do have 2 rating systems on our stuff. For people that don't know, we have, is it closer, is the movie or whatever you're rating closer to Casablanca to be near perfect movie, or Cats, the movie, which is completely a piece of crap. And then we have a rating. If you have never seen the cinematic masterpiece Ice Pirates from the 80s, please go get it. I think you can watch it free on Tubi or something else or whatever.
Or go to your local Blockbuster.
Yeah,
it was
just your
from the
local
80s.
bar. Yeah.
I will never not look at you like you're insane whenever you call it a masterpiece.
This movie is an 80s movie that completely is inappropriate in today's age, but it is hilarious, and it is a product of its time. But there was a creature in there that if you got bit by it, it gave you space herpes. And so we have a rating of space herpes. Of course, you want no space herpes, so that would be the best element, or 5 space herpes, which is the worst. So the better the product is, it's 0, and the worst is 5. I wanted to go over something, and I'll give an example since I watched at least 17 things this week.
17 gajillion things because you don't sleep.
Yeah. Let's see. My first one is I watched Hellboy the Crooked Man. This is not really a reboot of Hellboy. It is a prequel to Hellboy. It is before any of the movies that we have already. And it is an older version of Hellboy, as in further back in time, not modern day. Hellboy is younger. He's with a different group. It is a take from what is considered one of the best Hellboy comics that has ever been written. And it's a story about Hellboy taking this demon spider to a new place, and the train derails and they get off and they get lost in the Appalachian Mountains. So this is very much a folk horror film. It is not your typical campy style that is typical of the other Hellboy movies. It is very much a dark movie. The budget was very low on this, I will say that. But it wasn't bad.
Okay.
The story was good. It is very creepy, witchy horror. Hellboy still has his good lines in there, his, one-liners or whatever that you expect from a Hellboy type, movie. But the characters are really good. The blind preacher was really good in this. I can't remember his name. I figured if they would have had a better budget, it would have been better, and they wouldn't have to do these weird little fade to black like chapter things that were happening. And it was just kind of a little weird to do that. But you can tell the special effects weren't as highly bought as normal. But it is very much a creepy horror movie with Hellboy. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was cool. The story was cool. The acting was good. The thing was, but you could tell this was a low budget film. I think they did the entire thing on 20 million and less, which is extremely low for a movie nowadays. But it was filmed very weird, as in creepy weird, not weird as in bad, but very, creepy, trippy angles and fight scenes and such, but it didn't distract from it. It was definitely enjoyable. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I always liked Hellboy as a comic and such. So, my rating system, it is closer to Casablanca, but for space herpes, I give it about a 1 to maybe a 1.5 space herpes, just because the special effects were not as good. And the little fade to black parts of the movie, it kind of threw me off. I was like, all right, I was into it, and fade to black, come back. Okay.
So how would you compare it to the Ron Perlman?
Okay, well,
Hellboy?
Ron Perlman is the best Hellboy we've ever had. He's amazing. We can't get past that. You can't put this guy with Ron Perlman. One is supposed to be a young Hellboy anyway, so they couldn't get Ron Perlman anyway. It wouldn't fit.
Right.
But he did play a good Hellboy. He had the mannerisms, he had the attitude, he had the look, everything, and acted like a good Hellboy. So there was nothing wrong with that. I thoroughly enjoyed it, thought it was good. But like I said, you can tell this was a very low budget movie. If they would have had a bigger budget, it probably would have done a whole lot better. All the reviews I've seen, it kept to the comic and was very true to the comic, which is even better, because if you stick to the comic and you're true to the comic, great. Because that gets the fan going, yeah, it wasn't that great, but at least they knew what they were doing. So, Scott, your first media.
My first media is one that is not something that's really new, but it was new to my partner. She'd never seen it. So we watched Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Great movie.
Yes. And to me, that one is just it's a lot of fun. There's for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's specifically take a James Bond spy type movie and add quite a bit more intentional camp to it.
Yes.
Is kind of the way I would put it. And then there's definitely some bloody scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one in the church, which is just like,
is...
oh, okay.
The church is chef's kiss, though.
It really is so beautifully done. And I mentioned earlier, we were talking at the initial rant.
You're rigging it.
This is the reason why I went and got fitted for a really nice suit. Is watching.
You're
so
on
on
a little bit, Scott.
Yeah.
This is the reason why you bought a really good suit. We'll catch up hurry up.
Yeah.
This movie.
Thank you. Yeah, specifically that movie is why I'm like, you know what? I think it's time for me to be a full grown up and get a really nicely made. So because of Kings.
So the next step after the suit is you got to go and buy yourself a pug, right?
And an umbrella.
You didn't say no. That's the answer.
I did not. Don't tell my kids. Don't tell my kids. For rating, I would put it closer to Casablanca, specifically because as long as you're not going in saying, okay, I'm gonna be highly realistic. No, it's Cloak and Dagger spy movie with the ramped up camp to 11 at times. So Space Herpes rating, I'd put it squarely at a 1.
Yeah. It was definitely a tongue-in-cheek at times on the spy movie stuff, and some very good sexual innuendos and sexual themed thrown in there, but it was solid. I would agree with you.
Yep.
Colin Firth and then Taryn and Samuel L. Jackson, they all do wonderful.
Oh, yes. Great cast.
And I cannot remember his name, but the bald guy, you know who I'm talking about.
That is, oh my gosh.
He's the Stanley Tucci lookalike, but I can't remember his name.
Oh, darn it. It'll come to me. Give me a few minutes. I'm not going to try to go to IMDb.
I am.
Yeah.
That's why we have Google. But him, yeah. I think he plays Merlin, right?
He does play Merlin,
Yeah.
yes.
Mark Strong.
Yes.
Mark Strong, thank you. I wanted to say Mark, but I could not come up with the last part.
Yeah.
Something strong. Yeah, Brie. Mark Strong. There we go.
Yeah, just great cast.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done.
Yeah. Mizzy, what you got? What's your first one?
I don't really have a whole lot that I can rate because I'm a slacker and I haven't finished a whole lot. But Friday I was listening to my new music soundtrack that auto-populates on Apple Music, and Sleep Token is coming out with some new stuff that I'm super excited about. So I got to hear their new song Caramel or Caramel, however heathen saying words. Yeah. However you want to say it. I really like it. It's really good. I'm excited for their new album. It comes out in I think a couple of weeks. So I don't have much longer to wait, but I'm very excited for it.
Nice.
Give me the voices. Yes. Gonzo.
My next one was I did watch the first 3 episodes of Andor. It is the start of the new season. If you watch season 1, this is a prequel to the originals, where before the Death Star was made, so on and so forth. And it is about a character Andor that is starting the rebellion, leading the rebellion. It's about the rebellion leading up to the movies. There is a lot, and I'm going to say this. this is not a heavy combat, focused show. It is not a heavy crazy on them. It's a lot of political intrigue and learning how things started. And they're giving us a lot of behind the scenes looks of the Empire in that we don't see in the movies a lot of times, which I think is really good. Why is the Empire doing XYZ? Besides being dicks, they're doing it because they've got to do XYZ to get things going, which I think is great. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Everybody knows this. I mean, hell, I got a lightsaber. I got a, dual sister lightsaber over there. And I mean, I have a Jedi tattoo on me. So, I mean,
I was going to say, it's not like you don't have the Jedi code tattooed on your ribs.
No, I don't. Nope. And not in Arabesh either. So, it's
no, never.
Who would do that?
Yeah. Fucking nerds. But I really like the stuff that's going on behind the scene. I like seeing that stuff. I like seeing the political intrigue of these characters that I saw in the movie that I really didn't know much about because it was just there. But it's really good. It is very dark. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. Whether it's the rebellion or the Empire, it's I'm going to die after I tell you this type thing. Or we're going to have to kill each other because the rebellions can't get their shit together because they're infighting. And yeah, characters don't live long in this show. I mean, literally, they're like, hey, this character's really cool, and they're dead.
Was it written by George R.R. Martin?
It's just the way they don't sugarcoat the rebellion, which I think is good.
Don't get emotionally attached. Got it.
So I'm not going to rate it yet, but the first 3 episodes are really good. I enjoyed it. A lot of political intrigue, a lot of things going on there. So, Scott?
My next one is less a TV show, but it is about my favorite time of year, which is the Stanley Cup playoffs for the NHL. Most of my week has been spent watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I'm thoroughly just enjoying, and I love it because my team, Blackhawks, are not in it. So I'm not emotionally invested in anything other than just watching amazing hockey.
You just get to watch. I love that.
I just get to watch and enjoy high level hockey without the heart palpitations. So I've been enjoying that. I'm not going to rate it yet because this is just round 1.
Oh, yeah. Mizzy, you got anything?
My next one is also music related. I listened to the entire new Ghost album that came out recently this year. Wait, no.
One?
It came out 2 days ago. It's called Skeleton.
Oh, thank you. I was going to mention, I didn't know Skeleton was actually out. Thank you. I know what I'm doing after the show.
It's like a solid 45 minutes of just beautiful greatness that you've come to expect from Ghost. My favorite song on there is Massilia Amori. So you'll have to let me know what you think of that.
Definitely.
I'm going to give it a 0.5. I'm not disappointed at it. It's Ghost and it's wonderful. And Papa, yes.
The new Papa. Yes. I love it. Love the look. Love the purple. Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Incarnation of Tobias as the newest Papa has been fantastic.
Gonzo?
I'm watching another show and it's on HBO Max. It is an anime. Originally, it was done by some of the original crew that did Cowboy Bebop. And it is actually, the anime is supposedly in the Cowboy Bebop universe. Whether we'll see like Spike Spiegel or any of that, we don't know. But it is called Lazarus. Lazarus is a far future, not too far future, show about a man that creates a drug that makes everybody happy. Nobody's sad. Everybody's happy. The world is peachy keen, so on and so forth. And we find out that he comes on and says, yes, I created this drug and it's made everybody happy, but at the 3-year mark, it's going to kill everybody. And so pretty much the entire population has taken this drug. And he says, if you can find me, I'll give you the cure. But you got to find me. And so these group of people form this ragtag band of misfits to go find this guy so they can try to get the cure. It reminds me, and the best way to do it, if you ever watch the show Leverage or Ocean's 13 or Ocean's 11, or, you know, any ensemble group of people that have a set of skills that they're really good at, this is what it's like. And it's got good fight scenes. It's got good music because it's all good jazz. Because you can tell because that's inspired by, you know, the team that wrote it. Good music, good action, good animation, good like oh shit moments type things, and just so far it's been really good. There's only 4 episodes out, so I'm sure this is going to be a limited series. We're just going to get the story and be done. But so far I've liked it. If you like anime, you like good style stuff, and like heist style movies, I recommend it.
Nice.
Scott, you got anything?
Nothing else to add other than, hey, I'm looking forward to listening to Skeleton. I've been waiting for that one because they dropped the first 2 singles, and I'm like, okay, I'm invested in this.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for the release. I think I ordered one of the new Skeleton shirts. Will be arriving later this week.
Nice.
So it's the Ghost logo in purple on the front, and on the back has got a cross made of skeletons.
Can't beat that. Plus purple.
It's
not like it's not my favorite color or anything. No.
It's one of my favorites, purple and blue. Yeah.
The other thing
I have not been watching much else.
That's fine. The other thing I did is I'm still watching Handmaid's Tale. And of course I can only take this in small chunks just because of the nature of it, but I'm enjoying it. I rage at it. I love it just because it's great. But I heard some news this week, which I thought was interesting, is Netflix has hired people to do a new Narnia's series.
Oh.
And so they're going to redo Narnia, and they're going to start with The Magician's Nephew, which is really the true first book. And it leads up to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is good because a lot of people don't know anything about The Magician's Nephew. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's got a good story. I can't remember who they chose to play the White Witch, but I'm looking forward to it because, I mean, I read all the books when I was a kid. It'd be good to see them do the entire Narnia series. Because at the very end, it's not a really nice and pretty, series. There's some really ups and downs. I do have one problem with this because while I love this actress, Meryl Streep is amazing. She is awesome. Love this lady to death, but they chose her to do the voice of Aslan. And I'm like, the lion? Wait, are we going to modify her voice to sound like a man? And because Aslan, the thing of Aslan is God Christ and everything, and it's supposed to be a man, and it's supposed to be the reason. And I don't understand that casting. And get me wrong, I don't have a problem with changing this, but I'm like, Meryl Streep as Aslan? I don't get it. And she's an amazing actress. Don't get me wrong. Love her to death. But I don't understand her as Aslan. It just doesn't fit. It would be, I just think it's a wrong casting to cast it as a female voice, type thing.
Something that foundational to the whole world.
Yeah, to the whole world and what it's based on, because of who Aslan is and what Aslan does and such. And so I'm kind of like, and a lot of people have said that too. They're like, that's a wrong casting. And nothing against Meryl Streep. She's awesome, but this is a wrong casting. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what's going on. We'll wait. But I like that they're doing it as a Netflix series. That way we can space it out and we can get a full story and we can get everything done, because the Narnian stories are really good. The Boy and His Horse are really good. The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe, the Final Battle, all that is really good storytelling. The Dawn Treader, everything's really good fantasy. We just got to wait and see. Hopefully it'll get past The Magician's Nephew and they'll get to The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So other than that, that's all I have. This was a really good episode, and I really appreciate you being on, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
You are going overseas and doing over there. What are you doing stateside? Where are you going to be stateside?
Stateside, I will be at Gen Con in August as well.
Uh-huh.
Volunteering at the Corvus Belly gaming area.
Mm-hmm.
So not specifically at the booth in the vendor hall, but at the gaming.
Okay.
So I'll be doing that, as well as actually this upcoming next weekend, I will be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Kennedy, which is at Kennedy High School as a fundraiser for the esports team.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be playing in Marvel Crisis Protocol. They've also
Breaking up a little bit.
they've also got 40K, Shatterpoint, a bunch of different games.
All right.
Other than that, I'm just around Chicagoland.
I gotta ask, are you going or planning to go to Warfare Weekend?
I do not know yet.
Okay.
That's early November.
Technically it's mid-November this year. We changed some dates around to accommodate for Halloween and everything, so.
Okay. I have not looked that far into my calendar yet, so it's a maybe.
That's fair, but I'm in go mode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
No problem. Guys, we're going to probably send you off to the painting dad. He's working on some miniatures and some models over on that area, and we'll send you off to him. But before we do, we want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. It's always great to have people in here. It's always great to have people hang out. And if you're watching, make sure you check on our Facebook page and everything else, because I will be giving away a box of the Xenon action pack. You just got to tell me what model I painted. So, for More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm Captain Mizzy.
And I'm Scott.
Make sure you take care of each other out there. We appreciate you and we love you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to More Than Dice, making the world a better, nerdier place, one dumb joke at a time. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more nerdy action or to connect with your hosts, check them out on Facebook.com/morethandice and Twitch.tv/more_than_dice. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay proud, and we'll see you soon on the More Than Dice podcast.